What's going on, everybody? I'm Rob Odie. I'm in Studio 39, aka the Bear Cave. And look, this is the DMV Spotlight. And I'm not talking about just the metropolitan DMV that you're very, very familiar with. We're talking all of DC, all of Maryland, including the Eastern Shore. And then we hit Virginia. Obviously, we got Northern Virginia, Central Virginia, Southern Virginia, and you know we got to hit the beach over there in the 7-5. So without further ado, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Show these kids some love. Comment down below, and let's get it. Let's get it started. Let me bring on my guy E and our special guest. Let's go, fellas. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Mic check. Mic check.
Yeah,
Yes,
what's
sir.
going on, man?
Look, man, I done caught the fellas off guard, man. So look, everybody know who E is,
What's
but
up? What's up?
we got another guest. So while we got the clip playing, just go ahead and hit us with a short intro of who you are, kind of what you do, what you represent, all that good stuff, man. And then we want to talk about the game that we play right now on the big screen, man. So take it away.
Got you, man. Well, good evening, y'all, man. Appreciate you having me up here, man. Rob, E, man. I love what y'all doing all the time. Man, just keep on doing what y'all doing, man. We just a part of this small village just trying to do positive for these kids, right?
That's a popular
So,
that's a
yeah,
popular phrase, man. It takes a village, right?
that takes a
And by all
village.
means,
Takes a
man, if
village.
one wins, we all win, and we do it for the
Yep,
kids. Let's get it. I ain't
yep.
mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
No, you good. Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, man. If we not pushing forward and pushing together, then why we doing what we do? So with that said, I'm the owner of Elite Athletic Scout, and now we're Elite Athletic Group because we moved on to multiple sports and ventures and venues. But what we primarily do, man, is we help high school athletes find scholarships, and how we do that is we expose these kids to colleges that they may not have been exposed to. We do seminars. We put on like bowl games, camps, or whatever. We got two facilities down in the 7-5. We're gonna be up in North Virginia probably for the next like 6 months. So we're not trying to just put you in a position. We're actually trying to develop you as an athlete, as a young man. We want to make sure that you have all the tools necessary, so when you get to the next level, that you're prepared for the next challenges that come before you.
So you do all of that,
And that's
and you hit a couple of Friday night lights in between, right?
Oh man, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, boy, lightning in a bottle. I
There it
love it. That's
is.
the best time. That's the best. That's the best time.
So look, speaking of that, right? You hit two massive games, right? These games were hype from the
Right.
beginning of the year. Hell, they probably were hype before the year got started. As soon as they were announced, these
Started.
were games that were must attend, right? So you got to
Must
cover,
see.
game number one, right? So who are we watching
Right.
right now? And then just walk us through what you witnessed between these two powerhouse programs. And E, jump in anytime you see a big play, man, because I feel like
So the
you're real
first
solid.
game, yeah, absolutely, man. So the first game I got to watch was the top two teams in the Richmond area, the 804, right? That was around the Highland Springs, man. They've been number one, number two all year. They've been the top two teams in there, and they've been headed for this collision course, right? And so, man, the tickets sold out in literally 15 minutes when it went on sale. It was over 6,000 people present. Um, Shout out to Coach Lewis, man. He gave me sideline access, man. The whole entire team, Coach Brock, even the AD over there at Highland Springs,
Shout out
AD Lee,
to,
and they put
I'll
on an
say
amazing
Mr.
show.
Daniels, right?
So when the show began, yes, sir, Lee Daniels, absolutely. He got the smoothest beard in the game right now. He got the smoothest one. So yeah, man. And what made this game so unique, man, is it was not just a battle of the 804. It was a battle that's built on 5 because both schools are actually built. Both schools actually reside on Route 5 in Richmond. So
Okay.
this is a neighborhood rival. The kids know each other. Play Pop One and all that. So last year, Verona broke through. They won the state. They went through Highland Springs at Highland Springs the last game of the year. So, what that said, the motivation that Highland Springs came in with, man, the energy was electric. I mean, alumni came in from all over the country. I was talking to a guy from Greenville, South Carolina. It was a guy that came from Florida, a guy that came from Texas just to support, that nucleus, man. So, the energy was like no other. The crowd, I'm talking about, they were selling chicken, hot fries, you name it. Everything was going. So The pregame was unreal, right? So I'm gonna give shout out to Richmond for just having the most energetic crowd that I've experienced all season.
All right.
So we got to the main event, man, and both teams was prepared, both teams was ready. Neither team backed down. It came down to actually turnovers, and it just came down to will. You just saw that both teams was well coached. Both teams was highly athletic. They was both talented. The game started off with the kickoff being fumbled. You know, Highland Springs was able to capitalize immediately, man. It was a great post route. I think it was Karan Butler. He caught it, man, and it was off to the races. And once that momentum came, man, Highlands Verona just couldn't overcome that momentum. So it was like, hey, we need one play to settle down. And Highland Springs did a great job
Of
of
not
not
allowing
allowing
that
that.
play and come, right?
Yeah. So man, it was one of them games where athletes was being athletes, man, and they basically negated each other. Man, it was just a couple big plays, man. The thing that stuck out to me the most was, man, Highland Springs had this running back number 3. I can't think of his name, man. He like Jerome Bettis out there. He was a little bowling ball out the wild. He wore down the defense. And it was really a defensive battle, even though it came down to like a 29-0 score. It was basically, man, those guys got wore down as the game went on, man. And you just didn't see them let up. But Verona didn't quit at the same time. Both these teams should definitely they represented themselves well, but I also think they'll go deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, man.
By
I don't.
far, well coached, great athletes.
Yeah, I don't disagree there, man. And look, E, I'm gonna put you on the spot. You ready? I want you to just because you know the area pretty decent, right? So who might be one or two standout kids from or either team here that you just want to shout out, put on spotlight right here on the DMV spotlight segment.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite players in the entire state of Virginia is Takai Heath, wide receiver, DB for Highland Springs. Little
Mm-hmm.
undersized in terms of height, but let me tell you something. When the ball's in his hands, he just makes plays. He's fast. He runs good routes. He can work the slot. From what I'm hearing, a lot of schools like him as DB as well. So, it'll be interesting to see what he ends up playing in college. I think it'll be wide receiver, especially with him coming to Tech. But I'm really a huge fan of Takai Heath. Had a chance to see him in person when they came up here for VT 7-on-7.
Okay.
And then another guy on Highland Springs will be Braylon Johnson, safety, but also
Look,
can
look, look.
easily play.
I don't want to cut you
That's all
off.
he.
Yo,
This season,
this dude dropped a video keeping Hokie Nation alive, man. Like, he was like, don't give up on
Yep.
us. 23's coming in hot, right? And then he got, he
Loaded.
got the participation of a lot of dudes, man. When I saw that, I was like, yo, this dude's an originator. That's a true leader straight out the gate.
right,
So shout out to him
right,
for that. But
right.
go ahead, man. Tell us a little bit about BJ One Way.
Man, BJ One Way. Hey, he's listed at 6'2", but I think he might be a little taller than that when I saw him in person. And when he was here at Virginia Tech doing the 7-on-7, they had him at corner. And I don't know if safety is going to be his position at the next level the way he was playing corner, man. I mean,
Okay.
this dude was
Right.
shutting down half of the field. He's rangy. He could be physical at the line. He has really good hips for someone his height. And just a really good football IQ. I can't speak enough about Braylon Johnson, man. I think the fact that he's a 3-star is criminal.
Look, I don't disagree
Right.
because the fact is, I mean, he's been a 3-star since they basically dished out ratings. What is sophomore year, I think, or coming out of his
Yeah.
sophomore going into junior. I
Mhm.
mean, he
Mhm.
definitely, him and Dante love it, man. Shout out to Dante. We'll get to him in a little bit. But those are some dudes that you kind of scratch your head and say, man, like what's missing, right? But nonetheless, this was game number 1, man. But that wasn't it for the
Right.
weekend.
Yeah.
We
And
had
just to piggyback off of what you said,
Ooh.
the Heath kid, I had him at a camp before. And man, the quickness, the speed, but more important, man, he had the right attitude, man. He was a tough kid. He
Yeah.
didn't back down. Man, his smooth transition, his feet, I could see why anybody wanted him to be a defensive back. And because I'm personally a defensive back lover. So when you put together a kid like that with fluid hips, great ball skills, man, and he will come up and hit you, you can't help but not to root for him to be there. But, he does have dynamic playmaking skills on the offensive ball. He also is a great playmaker. But then the BJ kid, I believe he got a little brother coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
and
You
he
know,
was
his little
also
one's
pretty
next.
good. He flashed. And
Okay.
then for Verona had number 9, the key kid, man. He looked amazing off the defensive end. In spite of that defensive struggle, man, he laid the wood a couple times. I was like, hold on, man, this like a grown man here playing.
You said Kavion Keys?
Yes, sir.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Yeah.
Verina, it's going to be Kavion
Yep.
Keys, LJ Booker, and Eric Smith. Those are my 3 guys for
Mm-hmm.
Verina, man.
All right. Look,
Mm-hmm.
man, we could talk that game all night long. But we got another one planned, right? So let's set the stage for this one. This one, we got Phoebus, we got Oscar Smith, right? Obviously, there's been a lot of back and forth. Maybe not necessarily through the two programs. I'm sure there was. But if you look on social media, man, you know, both
It
schools'
was
fan
going back and
bases,
forth.
boy, they go head to head like no
Yeah.
other. Sometimes it gets a little too choppy. But nonetheless,
Right.
they finally got at it on the field. What did you witness, man?
Man, so you know what? I'm gonna give a shout out to Coach Scott and the Oscar Smith team first before I go into it, man. Yo, man, they gave me the distinct pleasure of letting me witness their pregame before the game. I mean, I got to the school, I got to see them, fellowship, having breakfast, going through all the pregame ritual, following the team over there, man. And one of the things, it was a perfect day. It was 7 degrees outside. And when the buses came, I'm pulling up behind them. The first thing I noticed was it's an hour and a half before kickoff, and Phoebus was in full pads, practicing, hitting each other, going crazy. I'm sitting like, yo, they're going to be tired when the game kick off. Like, I've never seen it before, right? But then I realized that it was the energy behind the game. Last year they lost, they got shut out 49-0 before going on to the state. So the one blemish that everybody kept saying was, yeah, y'all won the state, but y'all didn't beat Oscar Smith. So they use all that motivation all the way up to this game. I think winning the state was not good enough because the asterisk would have been this year, but you still lost to Smith. So all that here and there all year, man, those guys was mentally locked in, man. They was physically engaged. Smith came prepared, but for the emotional avalanche, and that's what I'm gonna call it. It was an emotional avalanche. And by the time, Coach Scott, man, they are great at in-game adjustments. But take my hat off to Coach Blunt. He had the adjustment for the adjustments. And it was a perfect storm brewing. It was senior day, the first play of the game, the tackle for the loss. Noah James, man, he showed up, man. He came in from Nazareth River last year, man. He was a one-man record crew by himself. He threw touchdown passes to Jordan Bass. He threw touchdown passes to his brother. I mean, he did everything from, knocking everybody from scene night to doing pom-poms, with the cheerleaders. He actually played a perfect game, man. He was like 7 for 7, like 4 touchdown passes. And the stars came out and played. Like, I was able to see Phoebus early in the year, and I was like, okay, they're pretty good. And I've seen Smith twice. I always felt like Smith had the advantage up front, but the way that the front line of Phoebus negated and neutralized that, it was just an amazing thing to see. But my hats go off to still Oscar Smith because at the end of the day, they made no excuses. They took the punches, they licked their wounds, and they already said, look, we don't have to be perfect. We just have to keep going. Now we're gonna take this whipping like men. They did. They made no excuses. And they said, look, man, we're gonna come back and we're gonna play in round 1 and we're gonna advance through the playoffs.
Yeah,
So I like the approach that they made. But when I
Hey.
tell you the stars came out, Jordan Bass 5 touchdowns.
Five touchdowns against Smith. I mean, that's unheard of. So look,
It's unheard of.
again,
It's
man,
unheard
nobody
of.
saw this coming. Me and E chopped
Nobody.
it up, offline about, like we were sending each other screenshots. Like, is this legit? Like, is this real? Is this typo? Like, what's happening here? And then when the final score came out, man, I was like, whoa. But like you said, man, shout out to the young men at Oscar Smith, for taking on the chin, right? You can look at their social media. They didn't come at anybody. They didn't put out excuses. I mean, they straight up said, you know what,
No excuses.
we lost, right? You guys beat us, and
Right.
obviously, you got to take an L every so often, right? My Philadelphia Eagles
Every
were
so
8-0 right now. Shout out to Philly. Let's go. But
That L coming soon.
I'm looking forward to it. As long as it's not Sunday against the Commanders, I'm ready for it. But that's another subject for
Yeah.
another day. Um, let's do this, man. Let's wrap this piece of the segment up. Because we about to go from the 7-5 to Richmond, and now we about to come full circle, and we coming up north. We gonna hit a Northern Virginia, area, and then we gonna hit the Eastern Shore, and then we got the Good Counsel game to recap. So, any closing remarks? Anything that you want to plug before you say goodbye for this segment? But we'll see you soon.
Hey man, I just appreciate y'all, man, for everything y'all do, man. Keep up doing the work, man. I can't wait to do more collaborations with y'all. And man, we're excited. This week we're actually about to release our Big East Bowl happening here in the 7-5. Even though it's here in the 7-5, it's for athletes all over the state of Virginia, North Carolina, Maryland, the DMV area. Actually, we even have one kid coming all the way from Port Arthur, Texas this year. So we're definitely expanding, man. We got college coaches coming. It's basically a big recruiting event, man. It's about the kids for the kids. And as long as we doing that, man, we always gonna be on the right track.
Look,
So
you
man,
couldn't
look
have said
forward
it
to
any
having
better.
you, man. Look forward to having you guys a part of it too.
Let's go, man. We got you. Look, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. We're gonna say goodbye for now. We're gonna bring on another special guest because we got a whole nother segment, man. I appreciate everything that you do. All right. All right, so check it out, man. We went from one special guest who covered the 7-5 and the 804, man. But we don't stop there. This is the DMV Spotlight. And like I said, man, we cover all of Maryland, all of DC, and all of Virginia. So let's hit the Eastern Shore of Maryland. As you see, we got another special guest. We got Old Sun Sports guest co-hosting with us yet again this week. And then we got a special guest, student athlete. He goes by Zyheem, man. But either way, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, graduating class, anything else you want us to know about you. This is your intro, my man. And then we're going to have some good conversation, all right?
I'm Zyheem Collick. I'm a class of 2024. I attend Snow Hill High School. It's a small 1A school. Um, Currently uncommitted right now. I also play basketball and run track. So,
Okay.
three-sport athlete.
So multi-sport, man, from Snow Hill, Maryland. Shout out to the Eastern Shore. Not born. I was raised in Salisbury, born down the road in Easton, but still in the Eastern Shore. So shout out to the Eastern Shore. I got a special place in my heart. And look, Snow Hill, y'all might be a little 1A, but I think y'all had somebody come out of Snow Hill, right? A little Ben Tate back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, went from Snow Hill or Decatur to Snow Hill or vice versa. But either or, he went to Snow Hill at some point. So Old Sun, man, I know you're eager, you're ready to go. So go ahead and kick this thing off, man. Let's just learn a little bit about Zyheem's gameplay, what you witnessed, and then we'll go to the recruiting and then we'll go to the offseason. You're good, man. It's all
I think
you.
Zyheem's one of the playmakers on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. What is your 100-yard dash time, Zyheem?
11-1. I'm pretty sure 11-1.
Yep. So we got the 100 at 11-1, the 200 at a 23
line him up
flat.
wherever you want, and
Yep.
he's going to make plays for you.
Okay. So what you got, man? Let's talk about this season, Old Sun.
Tell us about your favorite games this year, Zyheem.
Favorite game, I would definitely have to say against Washington High. It kind of lately these past couple years it kind of grew into like a little rivalry, and I also had like some friends and like a family member that went there. So
All right. So
that
shout
would
out to Princess
probably
Anne,
be one
right?
of my
Washington
favorites.
High.
Yeah, I'll give him a little shout out.
Oh, all right. So favorite
But
game
yeah,
statistically, man. Well, what was the breakthrough game this year so far? Where you had that aha moment. Was it a big what position we playing?
Probably the
Athletes. Or was it a touchdown? Was it a what's up?
The trick play against Parkside where you threw for a touchdown pass to Tyler Reddick.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Talk about that.
yeah, that was actually against Cambridge, second game of the season. I'm pretty sure it was. We need a little momentum, so coach dropped a little trick play, little halfback pass. I got it. Tyler's running a post down the field, and he was wide open, just threw it. He went and got it and scored.
Okay, so a little trickery, right? So what was
Yeah.
what were some goals coming into the season, man? What did you want to achieve?
Some goals would have been like, obviously everybody wants to win, get some wins up, which is, something we struggle with. And just improve from last year, have a better overall season, I'd say, put more stats up, and then also improve my leadership role, which I definitely improved that a lot from my sophomore year to my junior year.
Okay,
I agree. Concur.
so what, old son, man? What is something that stood out to you about this young man this season, and then we're gonna bring on E, man, and talk about the recruiting world.
So Zyheem, if you watch a Snow Hill Eagles game, Zyheem's the first dude who jumps off the tape. He's one of the bigger players on the team. He's the fastest player on the team. He's just makes plays. You have to watch the tape to believe it to see it. Zyheem Collick is a playmaker.
All right, so call out minus that trick play, right? What's one big play that stood out to you, old son? I want to know from the outsider point of view.
Well, he had a lot of long touchdowns and over 1,000 yards, all-purpose yards this season. 10 touchdowns, all-purpose touchdowns. I'm trying to think of one that sticks out to me.
Yep. So it sounds like you got a handful of them, right? I mean, almost 2,000
Yeah,
all-purpose
you
yards.
can go with any of them.
That's
He's a human highlight reel.
all right. So I'll let the highlights roll while my guy E jumps into recruiting, man. I'm curious to see, what your recruiting looks like, and then obviously, we'll kind of give you some advice, that maybe you could, use going forward. Go ahead, E.
Yeah, so first of all, disclaimer, and I apologize for it. I have not watched your film yet. Typically, I like watching everybody's film before they come on the show. I've just been really busy with a bunch of different things going on, including planning a trip to Mississippi this weekend.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
but so are you predominantly, what position do you play predominantly? Just out of curiosity.
I've played quarterback the most, I would say, out of my 3 years in high school.
Okay, quarterback. You said?
Yeah, that's what I've played the most.
Okay, so QB. So
QB or
I'm looking-
cornerback? Like defensive cornerback or offensive quarterback?
QB.
All right,
QB.
cool. Just make
Okay.
sure we heard it right.
So first off, before I get into too much detail, what is the recruiting looking like? Has anybody offered? Have there been any conversations? Any interest? Any visits? What's the scope looking like? The overall scope?
No offers yet. Couple visits. Couple unofficial visits. And just more so interest, a little bit of interest from couple D1 schools here and there.
Okay, and what's the level that's showing you the interest? Is it Power 5, G5, FCS, D2? That doesn't really matter to me. It's all about getting that free education, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. D1 school. I got ODU is one, Norfolk State, HBCU school, Navy, and a little bit of interest from Syracuse.
Okay. Look, man, we just had a young man blessed, with Syracuse, right, E? So, if Syracuse is on the board, that's an alright program, to have some interest from.
Lose this year.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, E.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking here through your Twitter. We got, sorry, my phone turned off. Almost 2,000 all-purpose yards, including 16 touchdowns. I mean, you look at that, and that's a heck of a stat line for an overall athlete. Is QB what you're planning on pursuing? Because from what I'm hearing and from what I'm looking at with a 11 100-meter dash, it's looking like you're going to be a really explosive athlete that could potentially make a switch over to running back, maybe receiver, a defensive back. So what's that looking like?
So yeah, it's not something I really pursuing. It's just more so like it was something, it was something that the team lacked, having a QB. And I have a little bit of experience in it, so I more so stepped up and took that role. But I have gotten some snaps at running back, and also some snaps at receiver. And on the defensive end, I play safety. So um, quarterback it's not something I'm really pursuing hard. It would be more so like a wide receiver, like safety, if anything, that I would pursue the most at the next level.
Makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. And
Yeah.
obviously, like I said, I really wish that I could have seen your film before. I apologize for not looking at it before.
Hey, hey,
But
hey, E. Maybe he'll join us on a Tuesday night, at 8 o'clock Eastern time for a live film review. Just throwing that out there, man. You jump on, we'll watch your film. We'll give you some real time feedback from multiple dudes on the panel. With some solid connections. Like I said, we've even got some dudes. D1 P5 offers the Syracuse UVA. The list goes on and on, man. Obviously, we can put you in contact. We can't get you the offer, but we got connections. So tap in, man. But go ahead, E.
yeah, so shoot, what was I gonna say? Again, I have not watched your film, but from what I'm hearing, it looks like being an athlete is what's going to get you to the next level. And I'm just curious, what with the conversations that you've had, you said some schools have expressed interest. Is it a certain position that they're recruiting you for, or is it just kind of as an athlete and they'll kind of figure it out once you get there?
They've all been from like as an athlete, like you saying, just they'll figure out when I get there. So that's I haven't really had one talk to me about like a set position. So they've all kind of talked about me as like an athlete.
Okay. Okay. No, sounds good, man. Anyway, that's what I've got for him, Rob.
Cool.
I'd love to take a look at your film, bro. Like we talked about, 8 o'clock Eastern time, where we do this every Tuesday night. So if you want to tap in, give you that real
Yeah,
time
I'll
feedback.
tap 8 o'clock.
Let's go. But anyway, man, let's keep it on pace. So obviously we didn't talk season, we didn't talk recruiting. Now let's kind of wrap the season. Let's go into the off season. Class of 24. This is a vital off season for you. What are your plans? What do you want to do? What do you got already planned? Whether it's 7-on-7, camps, combines, bowl games. Walk me through it, man. What you got? Are you part of the Eastern Shore Bowl, the Crab Bowl? There's some things happening in Maryland.
So yeah, I'm not a part of any of those bowls right now. I'm pretty sure that's only for the seniors.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I'm not real. I just seen them on my feed.
definitely some goals. Yeah, definitely some goals would be bulking up. Can't really tell right now, but I'm only like 160 around that. I haven't measured myself in a while.
Okay.
But definitely bulking up, getting faster, work on my footwork a little more. You can always improve there. Hit up more camps. Go to bigger camps.
Now
Here
hold
and
on.
there.
Let me stop you there, man.
Um,
Now when we say bigger camps, are we talking you want to go to camps like Alabama camps, or are we talking about SU that has a bunch of variation of coaches, whether it be NAIA all the way up to D1 P5? What type of camps are you looking to hit?
Good question.
I would definitely say more. I don't know about actually, being able to go to Bama, but more like that type of level. And also like just going to more camps. This year I didn't really get to go to a lot because
Okay.
I would say I started late. But yeah, more like that.
So you
Like I
so you
said, I
want to
don't
go
know
you
about
want to
me
go to
being able to
higher
go to Bama.
profile school camps is what you're wanting to do.
Yeah.
All right, so let me pause you there, man. Let me just kind of give you a strong tip, and I hope that you listen. There's those probably aren't the camps that you want to hit. In all honesty, man, you want to focus on camps within a 4 hour radius. Hit those Salisbury University camps. Hit the Norfolk State, hit the ODUs, right? Hit those camps because those are going to be where you're going to get the most exposure, and that's where you're going to get the most opportunities to actually talk to coaches and such. because I don't want to discredit you and say that you won't go to a big camp like a Bama or a UMD type camp, right? And you go there, maybe you go there and show out, right? That's super possible, but those are those are bigger profile events where you're not going to get the opportunities to really spend that one-on-one time with a larger amount of coaches. So you're going to lack exposure and opportunities by going to those bigger camps. That's our 2 cents, but take it what you will. But what else have we got, man? You're going to be working with a trainer. You're going to be hitting Ocean City, man, doing workouts on the beach. You got that in the backyard. You got to take advantage of that. So what else you got this off season?
Yeah, definitely. Work with some trainer. I got a trainer. His name's Beasley. I don't know if you heard about him before, but he does
Back
really
today.
good work. Yeah, he does really good work. So I'll probably spend a lot of time with him this off season.
Okay.
And he definitely allow athletes to like show progression and improvement in their game. So I'll definitely be spending time with him.
Look, man, that's good, right? So you got the off season plan. We done hit the season. We done hit the recruiting. We done talked about some of your highlights. We done played some of your highlights, right? So I think we got a nice snapshot of who you are, what you represent. But I'm gonna put you on the spot, right? I want you to take this opportunity and just essentially sell yourself. Think of it as if you're talking to a coach for the first time or a recruiting coordinator from a program, right? I want you to just tell us why a program should recruit you, right? What makes you stand out?
I would say I learn very well. I take criticism very well. I don't think of it like y'all just beating me down. I use that to like improve. I work hard. Uh, I bring good energy. I always stay positive. Even when things are negative. Good grades in the classroom, which that's an important
I
part of the
like I
game
like that you
too.
touched on that.
And then I believe I'm also someone that can help out somebody's program.
All right. So look, man, it's a school night. Even though we're recording this, right now, it's a school night, so you probably got some homework. We're gonna be respectful of your time, man. We're gonna say thank you for jumping on. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep grinding, man. And by all means, utilize your resources. You got old son there locally. Now you connected with Spotlight 39, Coach E, right? So make sure you utilize us. We do a lot of things here through our platform to help you guys out as student athletes to essentially get to that next level and live out your dreams, right? So that's why we do live film reviews on Tuesday nights for free. So by all means, tell your teammates y'all can jump on, watch the live show. We'll plug in your film. We'll give you some feedback, right? And then we share your huddle film. We do a lot of different things, for you guys as student athletes. So just by all means, utilize what you got. Take the constructive criticism like you said you do, and just keep grinding, man. You got the talent. You're only going to get bigger, stronger, faster. So keep doing your thing. All right.
Appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank
sir,
you for
man.
having me. Also, I'll definitely be hitting up those Tuesday live film, and next time I get on here, I'll make sure got a little better connection for y'all guys.
Hey, look, man. You in Snow Hill, Maryland. I understand. It is all good, but
Yeah,
I appreciate you. All right.
but we'll get
Yeah,
in there soon enough.
I appreciate.
All right. So look, we done had one special guest covering the 7-5 and the 804, but then we took it all the way to the Eastern Shore of Maryland. We brought on co-host Old Sun Sports, and then we had a special guest student athlete Zy from Snow Hill, and now we come full circle. You see it on the screen. We got the number one game of the week, Permax Preps, Good Counsel versus the Method. So I'm gonna hit this play button, E, and we're gonna talk about it, right? Because we got a lot
Yeah.
we can talk about with this right here. So where do we want to start? We don't want to start with the gate. We're not even gonna go with the gate. But it was senior night, right? Senior night, Good Counsel comes in. there was some high expectations that look, good counsel's gonna come in, ruin the senior night, take the W and move on, right? Take the number one spot in the playoff bracket. Shout out to number 39, right? Had to capture that. But that didn't happen. What did happen, man? What are some things that stood out, just kind of hodgepodge, right? Walk us through the game, some special moments. Shout out to Chase Young, DeMatha alum, popped in at halftime. Coach who was in the building?
Coach Randall Joyner, Ole Miss defensive line coach, come to the sit.
Look, man, so he came from Mississippi to the DMV to put his eyes on two powerhouse programs that realistically didn't disappoint. So
No.
walk us through it, man. What are some things that stuck out, from this massive, massive matchup?
Well, the number one thing that I can honestly say is that these two teams hate each other. They do not like one another. We saw it throughout the game, the amount of big hits, the back and forth chatter, the unsportsmanlike conducts and personal foul penalties. I mean, this
Some questionable,
this was
but there
yeah,
was a lot of legitimate ones.
yeah, there were some that were questionable, but there was definitely a lot of legitimate back and forth and utter disdain for one another and throughout this game. But you talk about a slugfest. That's exactly what this game was. Not super explosive in the passing game. Uh, Big boy football in the trenches. We look at DeMatha and Good Counsel and how their teams are broken down. You look at, first and foremost, the guys that are in the trenches, the big boys inside. For Good Counsel, you got Neo Avery, Ole Miss commit, Coach Joyner out there to check him out.
Yes,
Dylan
sir.
Gooden, Darian Mayo, my guy Big Gerald Williams inside, stuff in the run. And then you flip it, you got Jason Moore, Ohio State commit. We interviewed him after the game. Go check that out.
Yes, sir.
You got Emmett Laws, who's got a ton of Power 5 offers, and then big Elijah Yarborough inside. So, I mean, it was just an all-out war. Lot of runs, a lot of heavy hits, a lot of pushing the pile. It was just a slugfest all around.
Yeah, man, and some things that stood out, right? You talk about big hits. I think
Yeah.
we witnessed one of the biggest hits of the year, right? And who did that? Who laid the boom?
Robert Stevens, strong safety. We highlighted him on the show when we did our 3-hour segment. I felt the need to get him up and cover him because I do not think that he is being recruited at the level that he should be. Let me just tell you, there's going to be an FCS program that's super excited to get him. He's going to come in. He's going to play right away. Mark my words. He will. If he goes to an FCS program, he is going to start as a freshman. I'm
Look,
putting that
that's
out
big
there.
time. I mean, and he's most definitely got the capabilities, man. And then you take it right, and we had an explosive running game from DeMatha, right? I mean,
Yep.
and it wasn't it wasn't the 4-star running back that one would expect, right? It was the under recruited senior who put on a show. I mean, what did he put up? 200 plus yards. How many TDs? 3, 4? I don't even
Yeah,
know how many he got.
three touchdowns. Yep.
I mean, running all over. You don't do that against
Yeah.
good counsel.
Nah, and I gotta give a shout out to Brendan Wyatt. That's the name of the running back.
Yes, sir.
He's a class of 23. Honestly, it has a special place, for me because he was one of the first kids ever since I joined this business that asked me to evaluate his film. And he was one of the very first kids that gave me the opportunity to showcase what I could do. So, quick shout out to Brendan. But one of the biggest differences that I noticed with him this year compared to last year was he's finishing runs and he's not getting caught. The amount of times that I watched his film last year and the last defender was tackling him was just insane. And I was like, boy, you're actually really making me upset with how many times you're letting this last safety tackle you. You got to turn on the Jets or you got to put him on his backside. And, we saw him rip off those big runs and he was finishing, like he was getting to the end zone.
I mean, my guy came out of the half. What was it? I mean, was it the first player? I know it was the first drive, but I think it was the first play out the half. Busted loose for what? 75, 80-yard, touchdown just up the middle? What?
Yeah, right in between the guards, like right up the gut, man. Big boy football.
Yeah, man. And then you take it, right? And there's so many, national recruits and highly recruited young men on here, right? So when you say the stars were out and the stars they didn't let us down, that's precisely what happened. I mean, these were big time players playing big time football. And as you see, Dylan, what's his name?
Dylan Jones.
Jones. I love it, man. See, that's why I got you, E. I talk to too many kids, too many names. But Dylan Jones, one of the nation's top running backs, class of what, 24, right?
24.
Yeah. So he didn't disappoint. I mean, he worked for them yards, but he still put up a big game. And then on the defensive side, right here, right? Who's invested in that sack?
Well, you got Neil Avery and Dylan Gooden, two ESPN top 300 recruits. All coming off both ends. And me personally, I don't think we show offensive line enough love in general across the country. You got to look at both the DeMathis tackles, Tosin Babalade and Michael Crounce, Boston College commit, South Carolina commit. They had their hands full, and for the most part, they did their thing. But it was an all around game. Like I'm telling you. You could say that a lot of these guys played a good game. Even though they got beat on some reps, they also won a lot. So the stars didn't disappoint. But the truth be told, I was I don't want to say surprised, but I was really excited that some of the guys that are not being recruited at the same level showed up. Like some of the guys, yeah, like we're talking about. Brandon Stevens played a heck of a game.
Yep.
I mean, that dude was all over the field. You saw Brendan Wyatt rip off 3 big touchdown runs. Another guy on Good Counsel that nobody I've ever heard talks about is Mason Gates, the safety, number 30. He came down, made a bunch of tackles in the run game. Rangy dude, safety, physically ready to play right now, being totally under recruited. But yeah, the stars didn't disappoint. But quite frankly, even the kids that we don't consider stars didn't disappoint.
Yeah, they became stars on the biggest stage, right? I mean, you had all the media platforms. I mean, shout out to Chad Simmons from On 3. He was in the building. He made the trip from Atlanta to come put eyes on just so many national recruits, right? So the media was there. The athletes were there. The alum was there. The crowd was there, man. Like, the crowd was popping. Like, I mean, they was into it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, Chase Young pulled up at halftime, taking pictures. The cheerleaders, they were all giddy coming over, with their little senior night roses and stuff, and he was taking pictures with them. You got FedEx Field in the background, so I mean, it was a great night for football. Weather wise, I mean, couldn't ask for better weather. Shout out to Chase right there. There's the picture, right? That was on cue, and it was a good time for a good game with good competition. However, if all plays out, these programs are going to get to meet again, right?
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you right now.
Bang! There's the run up the middle.
Yeah,
right
expect another bloodbath, man. Like Good Counsel, you could see the disappointment and the anger at the end of the game. I mean, even when they're high fiving in the lines, like they're talking back and forth, and they're like,
yeah,
we're gonna see y'all again. And I'm telling you right now, DeMatha, I love DeMatha, man, and I also love Good Counsel. These two programs that I absolutely love. Better bring their A game if they do meet again, because it's going to be another game a lot like the one we saw on Friday.
Yeah, man. Lots of big hits, lots of big plays. Two well-coached programs, well-represented programs from the DMV, right? From the DMV. So, that's that. However, it's playoff time, man. So I'm going to let this continue to roll. We got about 2-3 minutes, man. What's your take on the playoffs? I'm going to be covering Louisa's home playoff game Thursday night, so we get to see him 1 and him 2 again, right? Mr. Savion and Dizier, 2 just bad freshmen. Boy, them boys can play. But what's the playoffs looking like? E, you were excited to talk about it.
Then the playoffs are going to be, there's going to be some outstanding matchups, especially in the second week. We're going to have what's very likely an Oscar Smith Western Branch rematch. We're going to see if all things pan out. This is assuming that everything pans out the way that I think it will.
Sure.
You got Freedom and Battlefield that could potentially see each other. That'll be a heck of a football game. We could see potentially Manchester versus Thomas Dale down in the 804. We've been giving Highland Springs and Varina a lot of love, on this show, the last segment. But those are two also outstanding programs in Richmond, Thomas Dale and Manchester, that not enough people are talking about. So that's a matchup that could potentially happen. Madison and Centerville, they saw each other earlier in the year. That'll be another really good one. So there's just a ton of games that I'm super excited for. Obviously, I need to brush up on some of the other conferences, 5A, 4A, but 6A is going to be super fun.
Look, man, we could spend another 3 hours just talking about all the different conferences and divisions and playoffs.
Yeah.
Look, that's another conversation for another week. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you show Mr. Zyheem some love from Snow Hill, Maryland, man. Follow him, show him some love. Make sure you follow the panel, right? We got some great dudes on here, great special guests. But look, man, me and E, we're going to be back here next week doing this thing all over again, putting the spotlight on the DMV. And I'm not just talking about the Metro. I'm talking all of D.C., all of Maryland, including the Eastern Shore, and all of Virginia from north to south, all the way out to the 7-5, man. So, that's E. I'm Rob Odie, Spotlight 39, man. We're going to close this thing out with the 39 Hearts Foundation like we do every single time. Till next week, I appreciate you.